Imagine if there were a way to extinguish the sun, the inexhaustible source of heat and energy that governs everything around us. What if we took all the water in the universe and poured it into its blazing core? Would it be enough to turn our star into mere embers? Or would this idea, as crazy as it is fascinating, trigger completely unexpected effects, far beyond our imagination? From our oceans to the last droplets scattered across the cosmos, could this immense amount of water put out the sun, or would something far more surprising happen? What do you think would happen? Embark on this cosmic journey to discover what occurs when we confront the sun with all the water the universe can offer. The sun, this blazing ball of gas dominating the sky, is, in fact, a star like countless others across the universe, although with one detail: it's ours. It may seem common among the billions of stars out there, but its presence is absolutely essential for everything that lives and breathes on Earth. Composed mainly of hydrogen and helium, our star is a true nuclear powerhouse, where, every second, millions of tons of hydrogen are converted into helium, releasing an enormous amount of energy. This energy reaches us as light and heat, enabling plants, animals, and ourselves to exist. And the scale? The sun is so massive that more than 1 million Earths could fit inside it. Imagining this is like zooming out on our reality, understanding how small we are and, at the same time, appreciating the colossal role it plays in everything around us. Now, imagine a bold experiment, pouring all the water from Earth into the sun. We take oceans, rivers, lakes, and even groundwater, place them in a giant capsule, and launch it directly at the sun. It seems like a grand feat, right? Well, the result would be almost nothing. The sun is so colossal that this amount of water, as abundant as it seems on Earth, would literally be a drop in the solar ocean. With its unreachable volume and temperatures surpassing millions of degrees in the core, the sun would absorb the water without changing a degree on its surface. This plunge from Earth into the sun wouldn't cause a grand explosion or any noticeable change. The sun would barely notice. It's proof that our sense of scale is limited. What seems immense to us is almost insignificant before the sun's grandeur. But what if we go further? What if we took not only Earth's water but all the water in the known universe? It sounds absurd, but bear with me. Every drop of water from every planet, comet, and interstellar cloud, all of it, launched into the sun. Now, things start to get interesting. This colossal volume could indeed cause a significant effect. The massive addition of water would bring an enormous amount of hydrogen, the element that fuels nuclear fusion in the sun. This bombardment of hydrogen could intensify nuclear reactions, increasing the temperature and energy released by the sun, perhaps even making it shine more intensely for a while. The transformation wouldn't be immediate, but certainly visible, as if the sun were in a party mode, consuming more fuel and heating up by the second. It's natural to think that water, which extinguishes common flames, would have the same effect on the sun. But the story is very different. The water we know, which cools us down and puts out fires, does so because of a chemical reaction between fuel and oxygen. In the sun's case, the fire is fed by nuclear fusion, not combustion. Nuclear fusion occurs when hydrogen nuclei fuse to form helium, releasing unimaginable amounts of energy. If we threw water on the sun, the hydrogen in the water would act as even more fuel for the fusion. So instead of extinguishing the sun, the water would simply feed this nuclear furnace even more. It's a simple but brutal difference between common fire and the energy of stars. One is chemical, the other is an atomic dance of forces beyond our control. And speaking of which, the hydrogen in water would do the opposite of what we might think when imagining putting out the sun. Water, composed of hydrogen and oxygen, would release even more hydrogen into the sun, and this extra hydrogen would be a treat to intensify nuclear fusion. Each H2O molecule that touched the sun would release its hydrogen atoms, becoming yet another ingredient in the recipe for nuclear fusion, accelerating the fuel consumption at the sun's core. This process would be like throwing wood onto an already roaring fire. And, as any energy-fed process does, the sun might shine more intensely, burning through its fuel faster, which could even shorten its lifespan. Paradoxically, by trying to extinguish the sun, we would be guaranteeing an even faster party of nuclear fusion. With all that water being poured in, the sun would gain a significant increase in mass. This mass increase wouldn't just be extra weight, it would intensify the sun's gravity. The greater the mass, the stronger the gravity, which would directly impact nuclear fusion since the pressure in the solar core would increase further. This extra pressure would drive nuclear reactions, resulting in a colossal energy output and more intense brightness. In other words, the added gravity would not only amplify the sun's force but also alter the dynamic balance it maintains. The internal pressure generated by the new mass might even disrupt fusion reactions, driving the sun into a state of high instability. With each passing second, it would burn faster and fiercer, turning our experiment into something truly catastrophic. With a mass far beyond what the sun can usually handle, there's the possibility that it could reach a point where gravity becomes unbearable. In this scenario, the sun could collapse in on itself, creating a black hole. The gravitational force would be so intense that not even light could escape, and everything nearby, including our solar system, would be sucked in by the immense gravity of this new black hole. This transformation would be so extreme and radical that the solar system, as we know it, would cease to exist. Instead of a radiant sun, we would have a region of absolute darkness where light and matter simply vanish as if swallowed by the universe. After all, a black hole is the ultimate fate of many stars that accumulate too much mass, and our experiment could be the trigger for this apocalyptic transformation. As the sun undergoes these extreme transformations, Earth, devoid of water, turns into a desolate planet. Without oceans, rivers, or even moisture in the air, life as we know it would perish. The seas would cease to exist, and with them, all marine life. Earth would become an inhospitable desert, where plants, animals, and humans could not survive. It would be like living on Mars, with scorching temperatures by day and freezing cold at night, with no natural protection. Cities would become apocalyptic scenes, and the atmosphere, devoid of water's humidity, would turn into a hostile, unbreathable place. Without water, there's no life, and Earth, once teeming with diversity, would be merely an arid rock orbiting an unstable and unpredictable sun. The absence of water on Earth would result in an extreme climate imbalance. Oceans, which regulate temperatures and absorb heat, would no longer be present to mitigate fluctuations. The sun's heat would hit Earth directly, creating an unprecedented greenhouse effect and raising the planet's average temperature to unbearable levels. In the nights, they would be cold and dark, with no moisture to retain heat, turning Earth into a place of extreme contrasts. The vegetation, already extinct, would leave the soil exposed, and winds would turn into relentless sandstorms. Solar radiation would also increase exponentially, hitting the surface directly and causing unprecedented genetic mutations and ecosystem collapse. Without the natural climate control provided by water, Earth's environment would be an impossible place for any living species to survive. Without liquid water or rivers, icebergs would become Earth's last hope for water, even if only temporarily. In desperation for a survival source, communities could try to extract water from the remaining ice blocks at the poles, now genuine life reserves on a desolate planet. But these ice blocks would not last long under the growing heat. The task would be arduous and supplies limited, but in those moments, every drop of water extracted from the icebergs would be like gold, and each iceberg, a shrine of hope. However, with the relentless rise in global temperature, even these ice reserves would eventually vanish, sealing the fate of a planet that was once blue and full of life. After this insane experience of imagining the sun and all the water in the universe, it's evident how mysterious our solar system truly is. And speaking of mysteries, if you haven't seen the latest video, what if we find alien life? It's closer than you think. Don't miss the chance to explore how this possibility might be nearer than ever. If cosmic adventures and challenging questions fascinate you, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any content about the universe's curiosities. See you in the next videos.